completing how to use a hammer first, now you can move on to a more advanced topic. Today we will be teaching you on how to use a drill, including all safety and parts needed to complete the process. The process will take approximately 8 minutes to learn. Learning how to use a drill is a necessity in life these days. It can be used for any home improvement or anything that needs done at your work or in your garage. Now, any education level can be used whenever you're performing this kind of task, but we do ask that you're 12 years or older when doing this tutorial. If you are under 12, please have an adult accompany you while doing this tutorial. Now first we'll start with the bill of materials, or the parts that will be needed to complete this tutorial. Our first major part is the drill. Second part would be gloves. Third, safety glasses. Fourth, 2 pieces of wood. Fifth, a drill bit. And the last part would be screws. Now let's go over the parts of the drill. As you see here, we have the chuck. The chuck is used to secure all drill bits and any accessories that come along with the drill. We will later describe how exactly to use the chuck whenever we're teaching you how to drill. Next we have the torsion selector. This is a dowel that can be turned to select certain torsions to be used with the drill. Next we have the direction switch. If you put it all the way to the right, it will drill forward. All the way to the left, it will drill in reverse. If you put it in the center, it acts as a safety mechanism. Right to the left of that, you will see the trigger switch. The trigger switch is used to function the drill and make it rotate. Right below that, you will see the bit holder. This is where you can place any extra bits that you're not using so that they won't be lost during the process. Finally, to the right, we have the handle, and below that we have the battery. The battery can be removed from the back by pushing down on the switch and pulling the battery out. It can be placed back in by sliding the battery on until it clicks. Now, in any process, the first step is to take safety precautions. So next let's go over the different safety techniques needed before using a drill. The first step is to wear gloves. Now, once you have on your gloves, your fingers will be protected from any accidents that could occur during drilling. The next step is to wear safety glasses. Safety glasses are used so that no debris can get in your eyes while drilling. The last step in safety is making sure you have the proper attire on. That means no baggy clothes and nice form-fitted shirts and pants so that nothing will get caught in the drill. Now, I brought along my assistant, Bond Dragfield, and we'll be using him as an example on how not to act safe whenever trying to use a drill. Bond, will you please come out? This is my assistant, Bond. Now, as you see here, he is defying almost every safety rule that we went over. First off, he doesn't have any gloves on. Secondly, he has no safety glasses. And third, his outfit is just ridiculous. I mean, look, he has jewelry on that can hang and get caught in the drill, baggy clothes that can easily get caught, torn off his body, possibly tearing off body parts while trying to perform the drilling process. Warning! Please make sure all hair is pulled up when using or operating a drill. Warning. Failure to wear safety glasses could result in eye injuries.
My eye!
Warning. Wearing baggy clothes could result in clothes ripping off and possibly bodily injuries. Now that we have completed the safety portion of this tutorial, we can move on to the examples portion where we will show you how to use a drill. Our 2 examples will be drilling 3 holes in a piece of wood and drilling 2 pieces of wood together using a screw. Our first example is drilling 3 holes in a piece of wood. Now your first step would be to make sure you have your drill and make sure it has a charged battery so that it will function the whole entire time. The next step would be to put the drill bit into the chuck. To do this, take your drill bit, set it right in the chuck, and turn the silver part until you have a firm grip on the drill bit. Once there's a firm grip, grab the black plastic piece right behind the chuck, and then turn the silver piece to get a nice tight grip on the drill bit. Now once you do that, your next step would be to mark where you want your holes to go. As you see here, we've pre-marked where exactly we want our holes to be using a pencil and a ruler so that we have precise measurements for each hole. Once you do that, you want to take your piece of wood and place it in a vise. Now, this is very important to place it in a vise because it's one of the safety steps in this process. This will allow the board to be secured so there won't be any accidents occurring while performing this process. And as you see here, we already have a piece of wood put in with the holes already marked, and now we'll show you how to drill the hole. What you want to do is take the drill bit and place it directly on the mark that you made in the hole in the piece of wood. Once you do that, slowly pull the trigger, and then once you start to make a hole, pull it harder until you make it all the way through. Once you're through, take the directional switch and push it so that you're in reverse mode to pull the drill bit out. This will avoid any cracking of the wood when trying to remove the drill bit. Now that you've completed that, you can move on to each other marking on here and drill the hole there. Now that we've completed the first example, we can move on to the second example where we'll be screwing two boards together. Now, this one is a little bit trickier because you are using screws, but it's pretty much the same process with a couple extra steps added in. The first step is to make sure that you have a drill that has an operating battery. Next, you want to get a drill bit that fits the type of screws that you got. In our case, we have Phillips head screws, so we have a Phillips head drill bit. Now, when you're selecting your screws, you want to make sure that the screws will be able to go through both boards sufficiently to hold them together. The first step would be taking the drill bit and placing it in the chuck. We'll be using the same process that we used before, where we tighten the silver part until we have a nice grip on the drill bit, then holding the black plastic piece and tightening the silver part until it's nice and tight. Once you do that, you want to place your bottom board into the vice grip again. This is another safety precaution to make sure that the board doesn't move or fall out of the vise whenever trying to screw the two boards together. Now, in the previous example, we drilled 3 holes into this board. That would be the next step, where you need to pre-drill the holes so that the screws will go in easier and precisely. Next, you want to line up your markings on each board so that your holes that you drilled will be exactly on top of each other. Once you do this, you're ready to drill. So what you want to do first is take the screw and place it into the drill bit. Next, you want to place the screw into the hole. Once you place the screw into the hole, you want to hold the board with your other hand so that it doesn't slip, and then begin drilling through the holes. Now that we've completed one hole, it's time to move on to the next two to fully secure the board. Once you've secured all 3 holes, you've now screwed together 2 boards. Congratulations! You've now finished both of the examples for this tutorial. As you see here, we have your finished product of 2 boards being screwed together. Now, if you have any problems with anything that you ran into whenever trying to complete these examples, please contact us at 724-288-7172, and we'll be happy to help you with any questions that you may need in completing these examples. So once again, congratulations on completing this tutorial, and now we ask that you move on to the next advanced tutorial on how to use a screwdriver.